Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Memory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. We bring you our 2013 NFL team preview. We're taking a look at the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to break down their offense, their defense, as well as their special teams to see what we can expect from the Cardinals this upcoming season.
The Cardinals had problems at this position last season, and both player and the offensive line could shoulder some of the blame. That's why it was priority number one to address both the quarterback position and the offensive line in the offseason. This year, the starting quarterback will be Carson Palmer, who comes over from the Oakland Raiders via free agency. Is Palmer an upgrade over what they had last season? Yes. Is he a difference maker? No. But can he have a productive enough season to help this offense be consistent on a week-to-week basis? I definitely believe he can. But this isn't the 2005 to 2007 Carson Palmer. It's the 50 interceptions in the last 3 seasons Palmer. So it's imperative that he is made a part of the game plan and not the game plan. Now, backing him up is Drew Stanton and Ryan Lindley, who saw extensive playing time last season, neither of which are the quote-unquote quarterback of the future type options. So I still feel as though there's a question mark at this position heading into the season, although not as huge as last year, but still a question nonetheless. There's a wealth of talent in the backfield for the Cardinals who can legitimately go 4 deep at this position. Rashard Mendenhall will get the nod as a starter, and I still like what he brings to the table. Vision, elusiveness, and the ability to be a valuable asset in the passing game. Mendenhall still reminds me of Garrison Hurst, and that change of scenery will do him just fine. Backing him up is one of 3 guys, all of which bring something different to the table. Ryan Williams is entering his 3rd season in the league and is hoping to stay healthy. He shows good acceleration and good lateral agility. Rookie Stephen Taylor and Andre Ellington are also fighting for the number 2 spot. Taylor has solid all-around game, but not necessarily elusive, and Ellington has the skills to be a game breaker with excellent burst and an innate ability to find lanes in traffic. The one element that all of the backs have in common is vision. That right there will allow any one of these guys to flourish in an area system where the back must see the cutback lanes. And the only problem I see here is that there's only so many carries available, but that's a good problem to have if you're the Cardinals. This is another strong unit for the Cardinals and one that could benefit from steady quarterback play this season. Larry Fitzgerald has the best hands in the game and is arguably the best wide receiver in the league. He's coming off a quote-unquote down year where he missed the 1,000-yard barrier for only the 3rd time in his 9-year career. Entering year 10, look for him to get back over that mark this season, as the emergence of 2 young receivers will start to draw coverage away from him. Both Andre Roberts and Michael Floyd started to become significant threats toward the latter part of the season. Roberts is a guy that can do damage underneath and down the seam. He finished 2nd on the team in receiving with 64 receptions for over 750 yards. Floyd will be entering his 2nd year and has started to blossom as the guy we saw coming out of Notre Dame last year. He's productive on the outside and provides an excellent complement to Fitzgerald, and there's a good chance that all 3 guys could go over 1,000 yards this season. There's also rookie 6th-round pick Ryan Swope, who could easily factor in the mix once he's fully clear from those concussion issues that seem to have reappeared and followed him since he was at Texas A&M. He's the fastest out of the group and could add that explosive component to the passing attack. At the tight end position is where you're going to see much more production this season. The Cards are more than likely going to utilize a heavy 2 tight end set, and that's a good thing and good news for the talented Rob Hausler. Hausler is technically a wide receiver in the tight end's body, blessed with tremendous speed and athleticism. He can be a matchup problem for anybody on the defense. The dependable veteran Jeff King is also going to see plenty of action because he's the better blocker of the 2 and also has solid hands. And keep an eye on 7th-round draft pick DC Jefferson out of Rutgers. Here's another big body wide receiver type that's playing the tight end position. I saw him down at the East-West Shrine game, and he was tough to match up against all week long. So I think the Cardinals are fine in their receiving core, arguably one of the better ones in the division. This was a key point of emphasis in the offseason for Arizona, and to the offensive line's credit, they started playing better football in the latter part of the season, especially at the tackle spot. Now, getting Levi Brown back on the left side gives this unit a huge boost. He's a very talented player in this league. On the right side, 2nd-year player Bobby Massey struggled in the beginning of the year, but got better each and every week and started to play some very good ball toward the end. Another 2012 rookie, Nate Potter, got valuable minutes and will provide depth on both tackle spots and on the interiors where a lot of the reconstruction took place. In the 1st round, the Cards selected Jonathan Cooper out of North Carolina, who is arguably the best guard in college football last season. He's an athletic player that can move and will be an instant starter on the left side. At the other guard spot, the battle will be between veteran Darren College, who was solid as a starter last year, and rookie 4th-round pick Earl Watford out of James Madison. College will more than likely start the season, but don't count out the talented Watford because he may be hard-pressed to keep on the sideline. depth along the interior will be held by Senio Calumet, who's looking to get some extended playing time this year, and Chilo Rashal will also provide solid depth on the inside. Now, center Lyle Sinline is fully entrenched as a starter and looks to be 100% healthy after going down with injury late last season. So overall, I think there were necessary improvements that had to be made. They made them. We'll see how this all plays out this season. I like what I see up front for the Arizona defense. Darnell Dockett is one of the better defensive linemen in the game, and this year he's looking to get back to his pass rushing ways. He's entering his 10th season, and Dockett is a 3-time Pro Bowler and has totaled 36 sacks in his career. Playing the other 5 technique spot, a 6-year vet Calais Campbell, the 6'8 Campbell, has been the most consistent of the defensive linemen. Some want him to be a superstar, but as long as you're consistently good, you are right in my book. Boosting the depth was a key this offseason, and adding both Matt Shaughnessy and Frosty Rucker does give the Cards a healthy rotation going. Now in the middle, Dan Williams posted his best season as a pro last year with 44 tackles. As he continues to progress, the hope is that he can start to add pass rushing skills to his repertoire and getting to the quarterback. They're thin at the nose other than David Carter, who shows the versatility to play both nose and defensive end. So quite honestly, new defensive coordinator Todd Bowles and defensive line coach Brenston Buckner, they have tools to work with up front. Let's see if they get this defensive front to be a little bit more active in 2013. There's talent, but there's also questions with this linebacking unit. Darrell Washington is their best linebacker, but he'll be out the first 4 games of the season with the suspension, and it left the Cards scrambling for a vet presence in the middle. That's why they signed former Cardinal Carlos Dansby, who still feels as though he has something left in the tank, and honestly, he had over 130 tackles last season for Miami, so he may be right. They're also bringing in Jasper Brinkley via free agency, and he'll hold down one of the starting inside linebacker spots, but look out for second-round pick Kevin Minter out of LSU, who I graded out as the second-rated inside backer and gave him a first-round grade. So I feel as though the Cards got value in a guy that excels on both ends of defense. 5-year vet Reggie Walker is also in the mix, so keep an eye on him. And on the outside, there's a lot of athleticism and some potential. Signing Lorenzo Alexander was a good move, but I think he's more of a depth guy, but he will upgrade the coverage units on special teams. And O'Brien Schofield is another player that flashes, and I still hold out hope for him that he can become more of a consistent guy. So with all of that said, there's an opening and an opportunity for 4th-round pick Alex Okafor out of Texas, who can give them more explosiveness off the edge to compete for a starting job. On the other side, Sam Ocho is set as a starter, and I love what he brings to the table. Instinctive player, plays downhill. This is a guy that always finds his way in or involved in a lot of plays. They also have an undrafted rookie free agent I want you to keep an eye on, Dan Giordano out of Cincinnati, as he was a talented player for the Bearcats and could see time in sub packages for this Cards defense. When you look at the Cardinals in the secondary, you see Patrick Peterson entering his 3rd season. He's already one of the better corners in the game. Here's a guy with elite level ball skills. It's almost like you're throwing it to another wide receiver, and once he gets his hands on it, forget about it, he can take it back for a touchdown. They want to get better opposite of him. That's why they bring in Antoine Cason from the San Diego Chargers. I think he's a solid player, dependable guy, and will fit nicely as the number 2 option. You also have competition for that spot with Gerard Powers, whom they bring over from the Indianapolis Colts, played with Bruce Arians last season. And they also have Jamel Fleming, whom they drafted last year, could provide some help at the nickel and dime spots, as well as Javier Arenas, who came over in a trade. Still love what he brings to the table, as well as what he can do as a returner. The strong safety spot, gone is Adrian Wilson, who was a long-time excellent player for the Cardinals, but they have Rashad Johnson, whom they drafted a couple of seasons ago out of Alabama. He provides more coverage ability back there, but he's going to get the nod as a starter. And keep an eye on undrafted rookie free agent Tony Jefferson out of Oklahoma. Here's a guy that can play free, he can play strong, he's a very good tackler, and he also has ball skills that gives the Cardinals much more versatility back there in that at that strong safety position. At the free safety spot, in comes Jeremiah Bell via free agency from the New York Jets. But keep an eye on the 3rd-round pick, Tyrann Mathieu out of LSU. I think he will challenge for that starting spot. Here's a guy that can play 3 positions in the defense. He can play corner, he can play in the slot, he can also play free safety, and is a very underrated tackler. He has the ball skills of a Patrick Peterson and also has the big play ability of Peterson. And the Cardinals rolled the dice and took him in the 3rd round. That was a great pick. It will pay off tremendously this season, as this is a guy that can make game-changing type of plays. So I think they got themselves a steal, plus they got themselves versatility in a player like Mathieu. And also keep an eye on Justin Bethel, whom they drafted last season in the 6th round. He's a very good special teams player and also vying for time in the regular defense. So overall, I love this secondary, and this is a team that has a lot of guys that can make plays on the ball. So it's going to be a tough time throwing the football versus Arizona if they can get the pass rush up front. The Cardinals boast a very strong kicking game with Jay Feely and punter Dave Zassadil. When you look at Feely, here's a guy that last season went 2 for 2 from kicks that were beyond 50 yards and was 8 out of 10 from 40 to 49, 89% of his field goals made. This is a very good player. And Dave Zassadil should be called the coffin corner expert, as he does a great job booming punts and getting them down inside the 20. Now for the return game, they can go anywhere with any one of these guys back there. Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson, Javier Arenas, Andre Ellington. A bunch of guys can find themselves returning kicks or punts. So I think they're fine in all aspects of their special teams unit. Now let's take a look at what the Cardinals have on the roster. Number one, overall talent, wide receivers, running game, tight end, defensive line, linebacker, secondary. They're very talented across the board. They have an excellent coaching staff. Bruce Arians has brought in a top-notch staff, so they're going to be well coached all season long, and a very good special teams unit, top to bottom coverage and kicking game. Now on the flip side, what the Cardinals lack, they don't have a consistent pass rush. Hopefully that can change under new defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. And they don't have a solid answer at quarterback. They have a fill-in-the-gap answer, but that's not a solid answer at that spot. And continuity with the scheme, you're going to see that a lot with teams that are going with new head coaches in 2013. Reason for optimism for the Cardinals, you look at Bruce Arians and what he was able to do with a totally young football team out there in Indianapolis. Got these guys to the playoffs despite of all the distraction that was going on with Chuck Pagano. And when you look at this Cardinals roster, they're a lot more talented than that Colts team, so you have to be optimistic. The cause for concern, if the offensive line doesn't come to play like they did at the latter part of last season, and if Carson Palmer doesn't pick up his game and eliminate the turnovers, that could be a real cause for concern this year for the Cardinals. The road to the Super Bowl for the Cardinals goes as follows. Number one, Carson Palmer helps the passing game. There's a wealth of weapons at his disposal. He just has to get the football to them on a consistent basis. Number two, the defensive front seven applies the pressure and helps out the back end because we know they can catch interceptions. And third, the offensive line picks up where it left off in the second half of last season. That means the running game will be that much better in 2013, which means the Cardinals could make some noise in that NFC West. I have the Cardinals finishing third, but their arrow is pointing up. This is a team that's very talented, and if they can get consistency on the line of scrimmage on both sides, quite honestly, as well as consistent quarterback play, this is a team that could challenge and push for that last playoff spot in the NFC. So I see the Cardinals being a dangerous team week in, week out, and hope to pull off what the Indianapolis Colts pulled off in 2012. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Cardinal fan forums for always showing football game plan support.